Life changes. Everything moves forward except men. At 50, you still have the same sexual urges as you did at 16. There's nothing wrong with that, but with women, it's different. Or do you still go out to nightclubs at your age and end up with a woman every weekend? The rules of the game have changed, and this should matter to you. You see, the problem isn't your age. The problem is that you haven't evolved with it. You're still playing a game designed for younger men, and mature women can spot that desperation a mile away. They've been through enough to know when a man is confident and when he's just pretending. They can sense when you're coming from a place of scarcity rather than abundance. But there are questions that really bother me. Why do mature women suddenly become more selective? More importantly, what makes a man over 50 truly attractive to them, rather than just another name on their list of suitors? Let's get started. Let's start with the reality most men refuse to accept. Women over 50 have seen it all. They've dealt with insecure men, manipulative men, weak men disguised as strong ones, and strong men who never had to prove it. By this point in their lives, they've developed a radar so precise that they can read you within the first 5 minutes of conversation. And what are they reading? They're measuring your frame, not your words, not your stories, but the energy you bring into the room. Are you seeking validation or offering value? Are you afraid of losing them or indifferent to the outcome? This is where most men over 50 completely miss the mark. They approach mature women with the same eagerness they had in their 20s, not realizing that eagerness now reads as desperation. They try to impress instead of simply being impressive. They explain themselves instead of letting their presence speak. And the moment a woman senses that imbalance, that neediness, the attraction dies before it even starts. Here's what you need to understand. A woman over 50 doesn't need you. She's already built her life. She's financially stable, emotionally independent, and socially fulfilled. If she's choosing to spend time with you, it's not because she needs a provider or a savior. It's because you offer something she can't get anywhere else. And that something has nothing to do with your bank account or your accomplishments. It's about the way you make her feel when she's around you. Does she feel safe? Not physically safe, but emotionally safe. Does she feel seen? Not admired for her looks, but understood on a deeper level. Does she feel alive? Not entertained, but genuinely stimulated by your presence. Most men fail this test without even knowing they're being tested. They show up trying to convince her why they're a good choice, completely unaware that the very act of convincing is what disqualifies them. Now let's talk about what actually attracts a woman over 50. And this is going to challenge everything you think you know. It's not your experience. It's not your maturity. It's not even your confidence, at least not in the way you think. What attracts her is your self-possession. It's the quiet certainty that you don't need her approval to feel complete. It's the ability to walk away from her without losing your sense of self. It's the understanding that your value doesn't depend on whether she chooses you or not. This is the fundamental difference between a boy and a man, and most men never make this transition even at 60. They're still looking for external validation. They're still measuring their worth based on female attention, and women can smell that from a mile away. When you approach a mature woman from a place of wholeness instead of lack, everything changes. Your body language shifts. Your tone becomes calmer. Your eye contact becomes steady instead of searching. You stop filling silence with nervous chatter. You stop trying to steer the conversation toward outcomes. You simply exist in the moment with her, offering your authentic presence without agenda. And that, my friend, is what mature women find irresistible. Not because it's a technique, but because it's so rare. Most men are performing. You're just being. Most men are chasing. You're selecting. Most men are hoping she'll like them. You're evaluating whether she meets your standards. This isn't arrogance. This is self-respect. And the irony is that the moment you stop needing her attraction, you become infinitely more attractive. But here's where it gets deeper. Women over 50 aren't just testing your confidence. They're testing your congruence. What does that mean? It means they're watching to see if your words match your actions, if your confidence is real or just a performance, if your self-possession remains intact when challenged. And trust me, they will challenge you, not because they want to destroy you, but because they need to know if you're the real deal. This is where most men crumble. They start strong, projecting confidence and certainty, but the moment she pushes back, questions them, or creates distance, their frame collapses. Suddenly, they're explaining themselves, justifying their choices, seeking reassurance. And just like that, the attraction evaporates. Here's a truth that will save you years of confusion. When a mature woman tests you, she's not rejecting you. She's giving you an opportunity to prove that you're everything you claim to be. She might withdraw affection to see if you become needy. She might question your decisions to see if you second-guess yourself. She might introduce competition to see if you become insecure. These aren't games. These are instinctive filters designed to separate men who talk a good game from men who actually live it. And your response to these tests reveals everything about your true level of development. Do you react emotionally or remain centered? Do you seek her validation or maintain your own frame? Do you change your behavior to win her back or stay consistent with your values? The wrong response kills attraction instantly. The right response deepens it exponentially. Let's get specific. What does the right response actually look like? Imagine she suddenly becomes distant after you've had several great conversations. Most men panic. They start texting more, asking what's wrong, trying to fix something that isn't broken. This is the worst thing you can do. Why? Because her distance wasn't a problem to solve. It was a test to see if your confidence was real or dependent on her validation. The right response? You maintain your rhythm. You don't chase. You don't withdraw in retaliation. You simply continue living your life with the same energy and purpose you had before she appeared. And when she reaches out again, and she will, you receive her warmly, but without relief, without neediness, without making a big deal about her temporary absence. This communicates something powerful. It tells her that your emotional state isn't controlled by her behavior. It shows her that you're a man with options, priorities, and a life that doesn't revolve around female attention. And ironically, this makes her want to be part of that life even more. Or consider this scenario. You're having dinner, and she mentions an ex-partner or another man who's pursuing her. Most men immediately feel threatened. They either become defensive, trying to prove they're better, or they become insecure, wondering if they measure up. Both responses destroy attraction. The right response? You remain completely unfazed. You might even encourage the conversation, asking genuine questions without jealousy or competition in your tone. Why? Because you understand that a high-value man doesn't compete for attention. He creates a space so compelling that competition becomes irrelevant. This level of non-reactivity is what separates boys from men, and mature women are exquisitely attuned to it. Now, I want to address something crucial that most men get completely wrong. They think attracting mature women is about being dominant, being alpha, being the loudest voice in the room. And while there's some truth to masculine polarity, that's not what mature women actually respond to. What they respond to is sovereignty. Sovereignty means you're the king of your own kingdom. You've defined your values, built your life around them, and you don't compromise those foundations for anyone, not even for her. This doesn't mean you're inflexible or closed off. It means you have non-negotiables that aren't up for discussion. You know what you will and won't tolerate. You know how you want to spend your time and energy. You know what kind of relationship dynamics work for you and which ones don't. And you communicate these boundaries not through aggression or defensiveness, but through calm, clear assertion. Here's what this looks like in practice. She suggests you cancel your weekly poker night with the guys to spend time with her. A man without sovereignty will either comply immediately, sacrificing his own priorities to please her, or he'll become defensive, explaining why he needs this time as if seeking permission. Neither response is attractive. A sovereign man simply says, "Thursday nights are reserved for the guys. How about we connect on Friday instead?" No explanation, no justification, no apology, just a clear boundary delivered with warmth and certainty. And paradoxically, this refusal makes her respect you more. Why? Because it demonstrates that you're not willing to abandon yourself to have her. And mature women don't want men who abandon themselves. They want men who are so solid in their identity that being around them feels like standing next to an oak tree, grounded, unshakable, reliable. Let me share the final piece that ties everything together. Everything we've discussed, the self-possession, the congruence, the sovereignty, all of it comes down to one fundamental question. Have you done the work on yourself? And I'm not talking about superficial work like getting in shape or updating your wardrobe, though those things certainly help. I'm talking about deep psychological and emotional work. Have you processed your past relationships and the wounds they left? Have you identified your patterns of neediness, control, or avoidance? Have you built a life that genuinely fulfills you, independent of female validation? Have you developed emotional intelligence and the ability to hold space for difficult conversations? This is what women over 50 are truly looking for. They're not looking for perfect men. They're looking for self-aware men. Men who have done the inner work and continue to do it. Men who can own their mistakes without defensiveness. Men who can express vulnerability without collapsing into victimhood. Men who can lead without dominating and support without rescuing. Most men over 50 have avoided this work their entire lives. They've built external success while remaining emotionally stunted. They've mastered their careers while failing at relationships. They have accumulated achievements without ever addressing their deepest wounds. And then they wonder why mature, conscious women are not interested. The answer is simple. These women can sense that beneath the apparent confidence lies an unresolved child who is still seeking his mother's approval, still proving his worth, still running away from his own emptiness. And they're not interested in fixing you, pampering you, or filling that void. They want a man who has already done that work for himself. A complete man, a man who is ready for a true relationship between equals. So here's my final message to you. After 50, women aren't easy because they don't have to be. They've earned the right to be selective. They've learned what they want and what they're not willing to tolerate. And if you want to continue to attract them, the only way forward is to become the kind of man worthy of their selection. Not through tricks or tactics, but through genuine transformation. Become someone so sensible, so self-possessed, so sovereign in your own life that women are naturally drawn to your energy. And remember this, a mature woman doesn't test you to destroy you. She tests you to confirm that you are who you say you are. So the only question that matters is this: are you? subscribe if this video has helped you. Leave me your opinion in the comments and see you next time. Take care.